Hey, today I wanted to emphasize the topic and the importance of your pelvic floor health. Sometimes you might not really understand why it's so important to have a healthy pelvic floor, your ladies' parts pretty much, and to heal your diastasis. I didn't really understand that logic, and I really want you to understand because it will be something that is critical, especially in the early stage when we're trying to set a foundations. So I use the fist and open up and closing that analogy in the pelvic floor video where I taught you how to define a tight or a loose pelvic floor on yourself. So today maybe perhaps I'll use a balloon to show you this analogy. So imagine this is your diaphragm which sits underneath your ribs cage, and below is your pelvic floor, and then you have your abs and your spine in the back. So what happens if you're habitually squeezing your tummy? You will create unwanted pressure on your abs. So it will push the stomach to come out, and also your pelvic floor is bearing a lot of pressure. Now, on the other hand, if you are squeezing your pelvic floor down here, let's say my hand comes down here, and you're constantly squeezing your lady parts, you will squeeze that pressure. Think of that balloon, squeezing that pressure upward, and that balloon will inflate it upward. So then it will become large like that, so that your belly is still going to push out, but now it's really tight here. Now, that's why I want you to understand that how do you differentiate tight or loose? When you are on a tight pelvic floor, it will be including a difficulty in starting your urine, and you will have sudden urge of wanting to pee and have painful sex, or when you're inserting a tampon, it's painful. You will have difficulty in starting pooping, like constipations. So these are some of the common things that you can look out for. But on the other hand, if you are thinking you might be on a loose side, you will also be leaking. Both tight and loose, you could be experiencing leaking, because if it's too tight, the pelvic floor tells you, I'm giving up on you, I can't do it anymore, you're squeezing me too tight, it gives up on you and you're leaking. But too loose, it's just like you're letting everything go, so it's loose there, so everything kind of pass. So you will experience that more leaking, and when you exercise. It's easier to tell on the tighter side because you will have some sort of pain, hip pain, pelvic pain. You will feel some uncomfortable there, especially when you're having sex, especially if you're having a few seconds to start the flow of your urine, even if you're leaking. So this are the signs that you're watching out for. Now, if you still don't really understand, I also want you to look at these as well. Do you feel like you're habitually holding your urine and stool? Perhaps you have a very stressful job and it requires you to like not do anything except for focusing on what you have at hand, and you're habitually holding your urine and stool. And some people do that actually as a child when they were growing up, and this is how they were raising up, and they don't, something that they were like, and that brings into the adulthood. It could be due to injuries or trauma down there. So, I mean, if you have any surgery down there in that area, that could be an indicator that there is some tightness there because there's some scarring in that area. Also, if you're prolonged sitting with really bad posture, that will make your glutes very weak, and also making your glutes very weak, and your pelvic floor wants to shut and tight. Irregular gait when you're walking, uneven pelvic bones. So sometimes we can kind of gauge it when we're looking at your posture photo on your weekly progress. We can look at, okay, whether you have uneven bones or not. So we can take a look. And also several other physical views, stress, depression, and anxiety. And I think with these one, we also have stress and depression and anxiety. And I don't say that you're going to have it for sure, but because you're stressed, your body tends to be just in that fight or flight response. It wants to tighten everything, and so like tense and tense. So you tend to holding many tensions in your body. So I really want you to understand this. And if you have tight pelvic floor, uh, you will want to relax that region, and that's why there will be several exercises video here listed out, and I want you to be mindful to do them and actually do them, because you wanted to have a healthy pelvic floor in order for you to actually expand 360 degree and contract and engage the belly region. So that, remember this photo here where I was saying that you're squeezing the pelvic floor region, everything that's kind of puffed up here, right? You would just not be able to draw in, so it will be very hard for you. We need to work on relaxations, we need to work on meditation, and also just not that 30 minutes that you're doing the exercises that okay, you relax and that's it, but throughout the day, listening to some songs, relaxing you when you're going out for a walk. Make sure you just really take your time to walk and not like hurry up and do things, and relax your body in a state that it's easier for you to understand and have more awareness. So that's why I wanted to make this video, especially just so you can understand what's important about that. And the other option is, of course, you can go to a physical therapist to check on your pelvic floor health. She will do an internal exam inside your rectum and your vagina to see how tight it actually is and give you some biofeedback on that. You could do that as well. So anyhow, thank you, and crush the exercises. I'll talk to you in a little bit.